Okay, so it's really odd that CNN would be running defense for the riots going on. It wasn't that long ago, in fact. It was just about 2 months ago, at the end of May, if you recall, that these rioters were at CNN headquarters in Atlanta, breaking windows, throwing around explosives, destroying stuff, and torching cars. Not entirely sure if CNN is aware of this, but these rioters hate them too. Even liberals get the bullet, as the Marxists say. But of course, it's extremely obvious that CNN is desperate to not say anything disparaging about the protesters. It's obviously no secret that among all mainstream media, depending on which outlet you're consuming, there is certainly bias going on in some way. You're not getting a clear, objective, reasoned-out viewpoint from these sources, but my God, CNN should try and put forth at least a little bit of an effort in regard to not being blatantly and unambiguously one-sided. And as I said, those who are smashing these windows, setting these buildings on fire, and in some cases beating people or killing people, those who are doing this, as I just said, very recently had their targets set on CNN. CNN is just desperate not to paint these protests as being out of control in any sense. They're pulling the, quote, nothing to see here move while things are set on fire around them. It was like that guy from MSNBC, I think, who was giving an update on the protests a month ago or so, saying it's mostly a peaceful protest, not a big deal. And while he was saying that, a building was engulfed in flames directly behind him. That was, to me, the ultimate depiction of the nothing to see here media. I could not help but laugh at that. Now, it's certainly hypocritical to an extent, but more specifically, it's more willful ignorance. These people know that they are politically required to support these protests, so they purposefully omit things, even from their own consciousness, it seems, to justify their support. They likely just hope people won't go looking for information outside the channel that they're providing, because they may expose themselves to something more in line with the truth. And that would not bode well for them. That would not be in CNN's interest. But it doesn't end there. Andrew Cuomo, who is a recurring character on CNN, recently said of a concert in Southampton that he was appalled by the danger everyone was put in here because no one was social distancing. Now, this is beyond absurd for a very obvious reason, considering he said that he stood in line with the protesters before. Now, in fairness, he did say that he was worried the protests would cause more infections to come about, but I don't remember him calling it appalling, and the real big point is that I don't think he called for an investigation, which is what he's calling for here. That could be considered hypocritical, I think, because remember, we've been told that social distancing isn't just this polite thing to do. It isn't some suggestion of courtesy. We were told that if we don't abide by social distancing, we would be potentially killing untold swaths of people. I'm not sure how anyone can think of that and also voice support for any protest where thousands of people are shoulder to shoulder. Either being on top of one another will lead to mass death or it won't. You can't pick and choose whether this is true or not based off of the political messaging coming from those who are in question. But anyway, big surprise, you're being BS'd by the mainstream media and politicians. Pretty par for the course. It can't go on forever, though. There has to be a point where people wake up, I assume. I hope that's true anyway. But anyway, that has to be it for now. Like, subscribe, share, all that cool stuff, and take it easy.